Welcome in the next few minutes, I'd like to tell you a little bit about the benefits of solo travel, as well as give a little bit of advice for those traveling alone for the first time. Whether it be by choice or necessity, most of us have to travel alone at some point in our lives. If you're feeling uneasy about solo travel, I hope that this can alleviate your concerns, or if you're considering going on a solo trip and you're kind of on the fence, I hope that this will maybe push you over the edge. Now first off, what exactly is solo travel? In the study, What Motivates and Hinders People from Traveling Alone by Elaine Yang, it was found that men and women actually had a difference in what they define as solo travel, usually. This isn't like 100%, but men usually had a more rigid definition of solo travel, being by yourself alone the whole time, where women define it more as like, if you're not traveling with anyone you didn't know beforehand, then it counts as solo travel. Regardless of what you define solo travel as, I think that this information will help out. What are the benefits of solo travel? First off, and what I consider to be the best one, is you have control of the experience. You can do whatever you want to do and whatever you feel comfortable with. You get to pick out the food and what you're okay with eating. Maybe you're okay with eating nothing but peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a whole week. Or maybe you don't want to do that, and the exact opposite. You can do whatever you want. You see some dumb roadside attraction that maybe someone else wouldn't want to stop at? You can stop at it. It's amazing. You can just do whatever. You set the schedule. You can go as fast-paced or as slow-paced as you want. I would say that is maybe the best thing about solo travel, is that you are in control of the experience. Now, that might not be everyone's favorite part, but it's mine at least. Also, it improves your decision-making skills. Since, you know, you're gonna be alone and have to rely on yourself a lot of the time, you're gonna be the one who has to make decisions. You have to learn to think on your feet, and you know, making decisions, pretty good skill to have in life. Also, it was reported that people who traveled alone improved their mental health. It also improved their self-esteem. It gave them confidence. And a lot of people said that it was not a regrettable experience. Even if they were nervous or apprehensive before going into it, afterwards they're like, yeah, I'm glad I did this. So, hey, you should too. You know, it sounds cliche, but you know, it is a little bit of a journey of self-discovery. You'll probably learn something about yourself, whether you like it or not. And while it is good, you know, to have a plan so things happen, if I've learned something from traveling by myself, and just traveling in general, some part of the plan will fall through. Always. And something may go wrong. Now, while you might not have the vehicle you're driving explode on the I-70, causing traffic to back up for 2 hours, might go wrong, and it's important to think about that and have a backup plan. Or think about, what would I do if this didn't happen? For example, you know, a flight could get delayed. And so it's important to just kind of remain calm and think things to remember that things are gonna work out. Of course, traveling alone does bring up safety concerns, you know, you don't have a group with you, something happens to you. So it's important to be, you know, conscious of where you are, what you're doing. This also heavily depends on where you're going, so also make sure you prepare and do your research on where you're going to make sure you should know what to look out for. And if something doesn't feel safe, just don't do it. And since you're gonna be alone, you'll probably want some way to kill the time. Make sure you get some music, get a book, download some podcasts, whatever. Something to kill the time. Also make sure that you're prepared and make sure you charge your stuff before you go. You can start small, well, because the thing is, traveling can be expensive, especially if you want to go far. But you can start small. Maybe just go for a weekend. It doesn't need to be far, it doesn't need to be long. I would say traveling alone is worth it, and there are multiple studies that show participants don't regret traveling alone either, so give it a shot, and thanks for listening. Now, as I put in text at the beginning of the video, this was a project for a class, so I'd like to, I don't know, elaborate on it a little bit more, now that I'm not within the time constraints of that. Talk a little more honestly, and also slow it down. So yeah, I gave that presentation, it went well. I showed that audio to to 4 people, including the professor, because it was the option, it was the last day, and so only the people who presented came in. Then my professor asked me about, oh, what about all the new people you meet? I'm like, oh, I'm the, I usually just go into the wilderness and whatnot. And she's like, oh, you're that kind of solo traveler. I was like, the fuck is that supposed to mean? It unironically sounded like an insult the way she said it. Oh, you're that kind of thing? I do want to elaborate on a few more things, yeah. I can only speak on my experience, which is that of a straight white cis male. There's that whole perspective, but you know, I think you should do it at least once in your life. I do enjoy traveling alone, and I hope that, maybe you'll find out you do too. You know, just try it once. If it's not for you, it's not for you. I love making class projects that can be repurposed into Ocean Man content, but if you want to see more travel stuff from me, man, I've got a whole playlist called the Goshen Man that you should check out. Thanks for watching, you know, like, subscribe, check out the other Ocean Man social medias, and I hope you enjoyed this.